In a few months' time, I'm heading over to Helsinki, and even though I'm going to be there for a whole month, I really want to maximize my photography, and I need to do that with the least amount of equipment as possible. As you might be aware, I've been doing a lot of concert photography, but I'm also a landscape photographer, and I need to take enough equipment that will get me the best out of both of those genres. But not only that, I want to do travel photography, and I'm not a travel photographer, and I challenge anybody who is not a travel photographer to not fall into the habits of their own particular photographic genre. And if you look at some of the pictures I've taken on my previous trips overseas, you'll see that really I've just been trying too hard. And that is just a symptom of jumping straight into a genre that I really don't know anything about. And because I'm heading overseas in 3 months, I actually have some time and luxury to practice the genre that I need to understand. And this video is really about me having a discussion with you about how I can best maximize my abilities and learn some new tips and tricks. Practicing travel photography in your own hometown is no easy feat. I've lived in Hobart for 30 years, so everything here is not new. I kind of have to walk around pretending that I don't live here. So the first thing you've got to do is look for something that actually interests you, something that really jumps out at you. Obviously, as a photographer, you know how to frame an image and get the correct composition, but what is it about this that interests me? Now, part of that is the shadow play on the sandstone, and it's really, in my mind, it's really beautiful. The first thing I need to do is get a wide shot showing as much of that as possible, but then I can look closer and find some more details and forget about the shadow play and just concentrate on those fine details. What I like up close is the fence line and the bush behind, because that just gives an added dimension to the image and sparks a little bit more interest. Something I always talk about is taking the time. And when you're traveling, this is especially true because it's so easy to fall into the trap of run and gun. Oh, look at that, take a photo, onto the next thing, take a photo, onto the next thing, and you miss so much. So even here, just walking through the gate, I found a feature on the wall which I just actually didn't see from the street because I was so busy looking at other parts of the building. And then I've come through onto the pathway and seen this tree. And I love these. So this is one of our native trees. It's a Banksia, and these are like pine cones. They're actually a full flower, which then turns into a seed pod, and you've got these beautiful little seeds here. And when the seeds have fallen, it turns into this incredible piece of art. When the seed pods split, they look like little characters. It's so cute. Now, of course, you don't have to pay to get in everywhere, and if there's an open door to a public space, absolutely go through it, because you never know what you might find. Of course, be respectful of other people and their families. That blue sky is incredible. As I was saying, you really do need to give yourself time to explore, time to make discoveries, because without that you're just taking random photos, and when you get home and you want to show people what a great holiday you've had, all you can say is, I visited this place and this place and this place. Find the things that make you excited and don't just have a checklist of where you've been. You can still show people where you've been, but finding an interesting angle makes it that much more exciting. When you're traveling to another city or another destination, you want to take photos of things that distinguish that place from any other place in the world. Things that make it really interesting. The last thing you want to do is take photos of things that you can see everywhere, like what you see behind me here. It's kind of boring. Now there are some occasions when your standard travel lens, like this 24-105, is just not going to cut it. As you can see, this alleyway behind me is too narrow, and I really want to be able to get the entire mural on this side into a single frame without coming like all the way down here, and then you get this terrible perspective where you can't see anything down the other end, or maybe there's a particular part that I really want to concentrate on. And to do that, I need to get out the fisheye lens. As I said, space is limited, so I found a door handle to mount the camera on while I talk to you. So you would have seen my fisheye lens, my 8mm, in a previous video. Well, since then, I've picked up a 10mm 7 Artisans fisheye, which goes to the full width of the frame instead of that circle. And that's perfect for this kind of situation. So these are all very good illustrations. So you kind of pick the best one, and I've chosen this one. And you'll see from my photo that the Tasmanian tiger is quite large in the frame, and I can pick out any one of these that I like with that fisheye. And now that I have the fisheye on, I may as well take a few more pictures that makes use of that, extreme wide angle, like this one. Now there is no way you're going to fit that into an image using your standard travel lens. I mean, a 15mm would do it, but you do get that heavy distortion as well on the edges, whereas with a fisheye, what you see in the corner is the exact shape that it is in real life. So even though you do get that crazy bendy distortion, any particular spot on that photo is as it is in real life. It's quite extraordinary. Almost get the entire thing in. Oh yeah, there we go, this way. And if I want to, I can get really close and get some detail. Now there is a danger to having a fisheye when you're traveling, and that is to just use it for everything. And what is a really fun tool and creates some really interesting images, travel photography, it is not. So you really have to pick your moments. Certainly in the terms of that mural, it was the only way I was going to fit it all in to make any coherent sense. And there are other occasions that you might want to use it, but definitely not all the time. Like if you can get a scene like this one behind me into a photo with just your standard lens, you're better off doing it because you won't get that distortion, especially if you're using something like 50mm or greater. But if you need to fit it all in and you don't have the space, a fisheye is the perfect tool for the job. What I find really exciting about using something like a fisheye is that you can get up very, very close. So with this sticker, for example, I can get up really close, get it big in the frame and still show most of that wall, which I find very interesting indeed. I reckon there's about 20 to 25 centimetres from the sensor plate there, and I can get as close as 15 centimetres from the sensor plate if I use the correct aperture. I like to take all of my camera gear on board with me rather than checking it in below. And an international flight on Qantas, I am restricted to 7 kilograms, which, as any photographer knows, is barely enough to take your kit, let alone anything else you might need, like toiletries and a book maybe. I'm restricting my basic kit to take on board the plane with me, which will be my Canon R8. This particular fisheye lens, because as I showed you, it's so important in particular situations, and for my live music photography, which I haven't even touched on yet. And then I'll take my standard 24 to 105mm lens to get everything else. Now I know taking a fisheye is a bit of a luxury, especially when it's 600 grams like this one. And yes, I do have a 15mm lens, which will give me all those straight lines. But like I said, if I'm taking some really big scenes in such a wide angle up close, I don't want those distortions in the corners. I want a circle to be a circle no matter where it is in the frame. Ideally, as a landscape photographer, I'd like to take a longer lens, and maybe I'll pack a 70 to 200 into my checked-in luggage. I don't particularly want to put anything in that luggage because you just never know. I might lose my bag, they could throw that bag around, it could spill out, who knows. So yeah, they're my ideas on what I need to do to learn to be a travel photographer. If you've got any other ideas, please drop them in the comments below. I need to know as much as I can. I need to practice as much as I can. I need to change my mindset yet again. Any help I can get, I would dearly love to hear. Thanks heaps for your time. I'll see you on the next one.